Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am so glad you're joining me today because we are looking at what is genuinely an unprecedented moment in the history of the web. We're going to be talking about a massive tech platform sitting at a pivotal, honestly pretty dramatic crossroads right now. I'm talking about WordPress. Specifically, we're going to unpack the events from issue 41 of WP More. This issue perfectly captures an entire ecosystem that is, well, wrestling with record-breaking success on one hand and some really intense, uncomfortable self-reflection on the other. This isn't just a story about code, you guys. This is about culture, it's about community, and ultimately, survival.
To really wrap your head around the tension happening right now, you have to read this absolutely striking quote from WordPress co-founder Matt Mullenweg. He said, "The only bomb is what we've been doing the last few years. And yes, it's my fault, and I'm going to fix it." Now think about that. When the co-founder of a platform that literally powers a huge chunk of the internet drops a statement like that, yeah, you know something fundamental is shifting. The internal pressure is clearly building, and the entire direction of the project is being radically called into question.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's how we're going to logically untangle this packed week of updates. 1. Record growth in Asia. 2. Matt sounds the alarm. 3. What WordPress 7.0 brings. 4. Individuals over corporate sponsors. And 5. Hard truths at PressConf.
Part 1. Record growth in Asia.
You know, what's so incredible about the current internal tension in the WordPress world is the undeniable massive external success the platform just continues to achieve. Take a look at this number, 2,627. That is the record-breaking attendance at WordCamp Asia 2026, which just wrapped up at the GeoWorld Convention Center over in Mumbai. You had developers, agency owners, designers, bloggers all just pouring in. This single number really sets the massive global stakes of the WordPress project right now. I mean, it is thriving in ways it literally never has before.
And to put that growth into perspective, check out these takeaways. The Mumbai edition was, by pretty much every metric, the biggest one yet. And because of India's long, super active role in the WordPress project, they've officially been recognized as the 4th flagship host country, joining the calendar in 2027. Plus, the community's global footprint is expanding even further, with Penang, Malaysia confirmed to host WordCamp Asia in 2027. So, the community is visibly and tangibly expanding across the globe.
Which brings us to part 2. Matt sounds the alarm.
So, you gotta ask yourself, if the community is expanding like wildfire, why exactly is the founder so unhappy? Well, the answer actually arrived mid-flight. Mullenweg was flying back from WordCamp Asia, caught up on some messages over his Starlink connection, and dropped a remarkably blunt critique right into the core committer's Slack channel. Over the course of a few hours, he stated that the wheels have fallen off, and he described the recent release culture as producing boring or mediocre crap. I mean, wow. He was openly, fiercely self-critical about the damage the project has done to itself over these last few years.
And as you might expect, the community reacted to this message with a total split. On one side, there was actually a lot of genuine agreement with the substance of what he was saying. A lot of folks acknowledged that contributions just haven't been going to the right places and that the pipelines are totally stalled out. But on the flip side, there is heavy pushback on his really blunt delivery. Contributors rightly pointed out that when Matt processes things internally and then just drops these sudden, massive directives out of nowhere, it makes it incredibly difficult for the team to actually act on his vision.
All right, let's move to part 3, what WordPress 7.0 brings.
See, while all this cultural drama is happening in the background, the core technology itself is shifting, and that internal friction actually directly impacted the release timeline. The platform literally had to pause. Late in the cycle, they found a major performance issue in the real-time collaboration, or RTC database architecture. And this wasn't just a quick patch. It required a deep, fundamental rebuild. So pre-releases were strictly paused until April 17, pushing the team to deliver a completely new release schedule by April 22nd. They basically had to stop the train to fix the tracks.
But when 7.0 does arrive, it is bringing some monumental systems that really show how rapidly WordPress is integrating AI. This is huge. We're getting the WP AI client, which is a core PHP library that gives plugins a standardized way to talk to OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. Then there's the Connectors API. That's an admin screen that lets site owners easily configure those AI providers. And for the developers, we are getting the Client-Side Abilities API, a JavaScript counterpart to the PHP abilities we saw back in 6.9. This is a profound evolution for the whole plugin ecosystem.
Oh, and a very quick but absolutely critical note for the developers tuning in. PHP 7.4 is the new minimum requirement. Support for PHP 7.2 and 7.3 is officially dropping. So if your sites are still on older versions, they are going to need an update before they can even touch WordPress 7.0.
Moving right along, Part 4, Individuals over Corporate Sponsors.
With all these massive technical evolutions we just talked about, you have to ask, who actually gets the credit for building it? Matt Mullenweg's core argument in his recent post tackles exactly this. He is calling for a fundamental redefinition of contribution. See, for years, the project has been measuring inputs, things like how many corporate hours a sponsor pledged. But Mullenweg argues they need to pivot to measuring results. They need to look at the actual, tangible impact that individual developers and designers are making on the platform.
The really crucial point here is that the push for corporate sponsorships has quietly, over time, reshaped the whole culture, and Mullenweg wants to reverse that. It's funny, this entire debate was sparked by a simple WordCamp Asia badge that just read self-employed instead of listing a big corporate name. It really highlighted the need to reevaluate the 5 for the future metrics. Mullenweg even brought up the mythical man-month concept, reminding everyone that simply throwing more corporate-sponsored people at a project doesn't automatically equal more progress. Recognizing the individual is paramount here. And that leads us to Part 5, Hard Truths at PressConf.
All of this internal soul-searching connects directly to some pretty harsh business realities that were discussed recently in Tempe, Arizona. PressConf 2026 was designed around a single powerful word: clarity. It was a deliberate, sometimes uncomfortable theme focused on actual business survival instead of, that performed optimism we see so often. The event organizer, Raquel Manriquez, specifically designed the schedule to have fewer sessions, leaving more open space to force honest, clear-eyed conversations among business owners about where the WordPress market actually stands today.
Just to prove how challenging and brutally honest the room at PressConf really was, take a look at this striking statement from Bryce Adams of Metoric during one of the sessions. He said, WooCommerce has been trying to compete with Shopify for years and lost that fight before it started. Wow, that is definitely not the kind of performed optimism you normally hear at tech conferences. That is a community stripping away the marketing speak and looking purely at the raw economics.
The consensus from the Plugging Economics panel was incredibly revealing. They landed on the idea that a smaller, more focused WordPress ecosystem might actually be healthier. The panel essentially argued that building a platform stretching to be everything to everyone, that's a losing game. Focusing on real business outcomes for a defined audience could be the exact medicine this ecosystem needs right now.
So, I want to leave you with this question to ponder. Is WordPress ready for its next chapter? We've seen the record growth. We've seen the founders' blunt critiques. We've looked at the massive technical integration of AI in 7.0, the cultural push to value individuals over corporations, and those hard business truths out of PressConf. This intense period of self-reflection isn't the sign of defeat at all. Actually, it's absolutely vital for the platform's survival. The real question is, where do you fit into this changing ecosystem?
To truly master the shifting landscape and understand the nuances behind these stories, you need the right sources. You've got to stay ahead of the curve, so make sure you dive into the complete developer roundups and community reactions over at wpmore.net. Seriously, make it your essential next step. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay focused, and I will catch you next time.